knitting podcast. My name is Sara and we'll be talking today about all the things I've been knitting on recently. I live in the Boston area with my husband and two little girls, and I spend all my free time knitting, or at least it seems like all my free time. It's April 26th and it's probably the first warm day we've had all spring. It's been a very cold, slow start to the spring this year. So that's no problem for me because that just means I can keep going with all the woolly projects that I've been working on. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope we can have some fun here, and I've been a lurker in the knitting community for many years now, and I would love to get more involved and make some new yarn buddies. So let's start off with some finished objects. The first thing is this that I'm wearing. Actually, I'll save that next because I have a lot to talk about with this one. Okay, so this is the first sweater I ever made. I think it turned out really well. It's wearable, which was my main goal. This is the Good Days sweater by Kutova Kika. She's, I'm sure you've probably heard of her, but she's a knitwear designer from Finland. The thing I love most about this sweater is the fabric it made. I held Madeline Tosh Merino Light together with silk mohair from Knitting for Olive, and it's so fuzzy. I can see why this is a really popular yarn combination that people do nowadays, and I'm really happy I experimented with that. So soft. I have a little bit left of the merino yarn I used. It's called Ice Cap Speckle. I'll insert a better in-focused clip of this for you, but it's kind of an off-white color with little flecks of dark gray throughout. So you can see the finished project is not just a flat white, but it's got a little bit of interest, but not too heathered or not too mottled. Just a little bit. So in case you get any, I was thinking if you get any stains on this fabric, it'll be totally fine. It'll blend in with the rest of the fabric, what's going on. What else can I say about this? One mistake I did was, this is totally my fault, but I misread the length of the ribbing on the bottom. It's not quite long enough. I don't know what I can do about that except pick up stitches and knit some more. But then it will kind of create a seam under there, right? And it'll be obvious. I'm not sure. And right now it's like kind of a good cropped length on me. So if I made the ribbing longer, that it might get too long. It's quite a boxy fit, so I don't know. I'm wearing it already, so I probably will be too lazy to make the adjustment to the bottom ribbing. But overall, really happy with that project, and it was really well written. It's from Kutova Kika's book. I forget what the book is called. I'll leave the link down below, but she came out with a book recently, and there are tons and tons of knits in there, and I kind of want to make several of her sweaters. So we'll see what I make next. Okay, the next finished object I have is this kofte that I made. After I finished my first sweater that you just saw, I thought, okay, I guess I'm ready to do an all-over colorwork cardigan with steeking and everything that goes along with it. Let me stand up a sec. This is a pattern I designed myself. I think this is a really popular Norwegian type of design, but I just kind of made it up as I went along. The sleeves, I did this funny piano key effect here. And the sleeves are very straight. I just knit a big straight tube all the way up here. I knit this from the bottom up. And then when I got here to the armpit, I bound off a few stitches on the sleeve and on the body. And then I connected okay, getting too excited. So I knit the body as a tube in the round with extra stitches here in the middle for steeking or cutting it open at the very end. That's like a very traditional Norwegian way of making cardigans. Anyways, so after I knit the tube for the body up to the armpit, and I knit both the sleeves, I put the body and the two sleeves on a giant circular needle, and then knit the yoke in the round with raglan decreases up until pretty high up, like even higher than it's going now. And then I cut the neckline in the front, so it was going like this. So I cut it so it was like this, and I made sure to account for about a 1 inch ribbing. So I cut it down a little bit lower than what I wanted the final product to look like. Then I did the ribbing, and then I steeked it open, and I have a little bit of footage of me doing that. I felted the steek line, and then I sewed a line of stitching on either side of where I was going to cut, and then I cut in the middle and then kind of folded it back, and then I picked up stitches here on the band, and I knit all the way till this edge, and I knit a row of purls for the turning edge, and then knit another inch or so for the back side of the facing, and then I sewed it down to the underside here. So it's a little bit thick, but I think it's an okay facing there. I hope all that made sense. So this was made in Rauma finull yarn. This is a Norwegian yarn to go with the Norwegian inspired Kofte knitting method that I used. So for the background, I used this color called 401. I don't think it's their whitest white. I think it's their second whitest white. Yeah, it doesn't have a name, but you can get this yarn pretty readily in the US. It's a woolly wool, a non-superwash wool, which that's the only type of wool I like to work with whenever possible. But it's not scratchy like Lopi or one of those Icelandic yarns with a lot of guard hairs poking out. I would say it's pretty smooth. You can feel that it's not soft, but it's not, at least I'm not too sensitive to wool, so it doesn't feel itchy to me. And then the darker color I used is charcoal 414. So those two together. I designed this one with my wardrobe in mind. So I wanted black and white because I wear a lot of neutrals and black and white clothes, and I thought this would go with like everything in my wardrobe, and I think it does. I've been wearing it non-stop. I finished it about 6 days ago, and I've worn it every day since then. Oh, okay, so that's it for finished objects. This took me about 5 weeks to make. I did run out of yarn with like just the ribbing left to go, and I had to wait a few days for that. So not too bad. I did spend all my time working on only this pretty much. So that's why I feel like I did it pretty, I guess it wasn't fast, but I thought it would take me even longer. And I'm just happy I finished it, honestly. It was my first colorwork project, and I was making it up as I went along. So I'm just happy I finished. A few other notes about this. It was kind of a disaster in the beginning. I did a gauge swatch, but not in stranded color work. So I know that when you do color work, things tend to be a tighter gauge. So I think my gauge was too big. It was too small from what I wanted when I did my original gauge swatch with just one color. So when I cast on, I was doing the ribbing, I noticed it looked kind of small, and I wanted a really huge jacket kind of cardigan, like really cozy, could fit over all my clothes. So about from the bottom, from about here, I had knit all the way up to here, and I realized it was going to be too small. But since I had done the steeking edge, I decided to be a little bit of a knitting surgeon, and I cut the work prematurely, and I knit a fresh panel flat, and I inserted it into that into the steeked piece that I had made flat, if that makes any sense. And I sewed it in, and then I continued in the round with the new panel that had been added in. And I do think I made it a little bit too big in the end. I inserted a panel about this big, but at least it was not too small, and I felt pretty proud of myself that I had come up with that solution. But because of that, the inside is a little bit unsightly from when I sewed in that extra panel here. Kind of like smashed it down and ironed it flat, but it is on the inside. Nobody's really gonna see it. So that's one embarrassing thing on the inside that I don't want anyone to see, but it's kind of part of the fun story of how you jerry-rig your project, or, you know, it just shows how creative you can be sometimes when you need to make something work and you don't want to unravel it. One other thing I would change, or I can still do this actually, is I would like to add pockets, because all my other giant cardigans have nice big pockets for my phone. So I thought maybe I could pick up stitches along above the ribbing somewhere where it makes sense, pick up some stitches and knit a panel in the exact pattern that I had, maybe with like a 1 centimeter border on each side, and then fold under that border so it's kind of encased. Or do I even need to make, so would I even need to fold it under? I think so. And then sew it all down. So stay tuned for that. Maybe I'll do that, or maybe I'll save it for fall, because now it's starting to warm up here. So we'll see if I get to that or not. Okay. I think that's all I can say about that kofte that I made. It is quite addicting, the Colorwork cardigan thing. So I already cast on, I guess we will segue into, what's it called? WIPS. We'll segue into WIPS. So after I finish this, right at the end, I was already planning my next Colorwork cardigan, because I did find it very addicting to see the pattern come out, and I'm not one of those people who likes to knit in the round and just like sit there and knit in the round. I kind of need something to keep me going, something to look forward to after every round. So anyways, now that I have my black and white cardigan, I decided and it's springtime, I decided, okay, let's go for a crazy color combo cardigan next. So the next cardigan I'm gonna make is called the Jaipur cardigan, or Jaipur kofte by Sidsel Hoivik. I'm so sorry I don't speak Norwegian, but she's a very popular Norwegian knitting designer, and her color work is honestly amazing, awe-inspiring, like so beautiful to look at, just works of art. And I got this from her book, which you can get in English as a digital book. I'll leave the link down below. It's called My Knitted Treasures, or something like that. I think it came out kind of recently, or maybe just recently in English. Anyways, I want to make several of the cardigans in that book, but I will be making this one first because, I don't know. So in her book, or in the pictures of this, it's made with, the main pattern is made with a brownish, mustardy, yellowish brown, and pink, and I decided to change the brown into green because my favorite color combination is pink and green. So I will be using this. Oh, and this is going to be knit up in Hillesvag ask. It's a non-superwash wool. It's a lot like the Rauma finull yarn. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention my kofte was knit on a 3mm needle. This one I will be knitting in 3.5mm needle, and right now I'm on the ribbing, and that's in a 3mm needle. So it's going to be a 2x2 ribbing, and then a purl stitch for the turn so that the ribbing can fold back on itself, and then the back side, the wrong side, is just going to be stockinette stitch. So I'm almost done with the ribbing, and I can't wait because I want to get to the pink part, my favorite. So let me show you the pinks I'll be using. This is another Hillesvag ask color, light pink. I'll leave the exact number down below because my tag is downstairs, I think. And then it also required a medium pink, and it was really hard to get Hillesvag ask. I got it from Sidsel's website itself because I also got a copy of the book, and shipping wasn't too bad, but she did ship internationally, which was amazing because I've just always wanted one of her books. Anyway, so they didn't have the medium pink, but I thought since I just got Rauma finull instead because it seems pretty similar, and I think there's just a little bit of this. It's kind of an accent color, so I'm hoping it will work out. And there's some other colors that are involved as well, white, a little bit of gold or yellowish gold, and a bright apple green. So I can't wait to show you what that's going to look like. Please subscribe if you'd like to see my progress on that one. Okay, so since my first cardigan for myself was going well, I decided to start making my husband something. I primarily like to knit for myself, but I figure since fall is so far away, I could start knitting on something for him now, and I'll have several months to finish it, and no problem, I can continue working on my own favorite things. Okay, so, oh no, maybe you can see a theme here, but I just love dark green yarn. This is a giant cone from Rennie. I knit Rennie in the color Olive Grove. This is their Supersoft yarn, and it's a lambswool. It is very soft, not as soft as Alpaca, but it's softer than the Rauma finull and the Hillesvag ask that I was just talking about. It's very thin, so I'm using 2 strands held together. And for this sweater, hopefully I can show you. There are a lot of stitches on holes right now. Oh yeah, you can see, here's the head hole. So for him, I wanted to do a knit purl textured pattern. So the pattern I'm doing is free, by the way, by Jarbo. I think it's a Swedish designer. You can find all their Ravelry store on Ravelry, obviously, and there are dozens and dozens of free patterns there for men, women, children, accessories. So I guess this one is called Jarbo 92843. And I can share everything about this because it's free, but it's a textured pattern. There's like diamond motifs, and look, you start in the back and then you pick up stitches for the left and right yoke, and then you cast on some stitches for the middle, and then you knit in the round for a while. And I didn't get this far yet, but I think you pick up stitches for the sleeves, and it's going really well. It's similar to me, it's similar to Colorwork in that each row is different and fun, and I like that. It keeps me going. So yeah, and I put this on his head already and he likes it, so that's great. I can't wait to finish it, and like I said, I've got plenty of time. Oh, let me show you the swatch. I don't know if you can tell, but it softened up even more after I washed and blocked it. This color is very beautiful. It's a green, but it's so much more than green. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, I think I've got one naughty whip that's probably gonna be a UFO for a while because this is not practical right now, but it's a little mitten with a cute little sheepy pattern on there. So I finished one mitten, and you guessed it, I didn't even cast on the second one yet because I got too excited to do something else, but I will do this once it is cold again, I think. This is the softest mitten ever. This is my first time working with an alpaca yarn. This is Soft Alpaca by Hobii. It's very, very soft. I did this on 3mm needles. And it's 3 colors. I just love this rich brown, warm brown. The brown is called color 41. Sorry. 41, I don't see a number. This is not white, this is kind of a oatmeal. Sorry, I lost the tag. I'll try to find it and link it below. And this black color is 07. It just looks like regular black to me. So I love these yarns. I'm gonna have to make my girls something in alpaca because they're quite sensitive to wool, but alpaca they like. And we visited an alpaca farm a couple weeks ago and love alpacas now. I'll insert some footage of that at the end if you'd like to see our trip to the alpaca farm. We also went to see sheep last weekend. I guess we're getting in the spring farm mood right now. And oh, I have one more WIP, so I'm just looking over at my project pile. So next month I'm going to San Francisco to see some friends, and some of my best friends from San Francisco, where we used to live for about 8 years till we moved back to Massachusetts about 2 years ago. Anyways, some of our best friends there just had a baby, so I thought, oh, I'm gonna make some baby knits. Their baby's only, I don't know, I think 4 months old. So I bought my first Petite knit pattern. This is the Ingrid. They also make an adult version of this, I believe. And it's like texture, it's like textured sweater work from the top down. There are these cables that you don't need a cable needle for, which I liked. And this is knit in Sandnes Garn Double Sunday. And the color is 8521. It's like a light sage green. I love green. And I thought this would be so cute for a baby. I do not like working with this yarn, as soft as it is. I find it, oh, nice, it's merino. It's 100% merino wool, muslin free, non-superwash, which is great. I don't know, I don't like working with it. I know it's popular, but I find it very stretchy and it's a very round yarn, so any stitch I do just seems to just like come away and loosen up even as soon as I knit it, and I can't seem to tighten it as much as I want. I probably should try another needle size, but I don't know, I think it's turning out okay. But this is like a 2-year-old size sweater. I did do a swatch. I don't know what went wrong, but I tried to make, I was going for the 6 to 9 month style, but this is like, this could fit my 4-year-old. So I have not worked on this for a couple weeks because it does not excite me to make something that this small baby can't wear for a couple years. I don't know, this didn't take me that many hours. Maybe I should start over and knit the smallest size and maybe try a smaller needle. I have time. I don't know. I'm still figuring out what to do. Let me know if you have any experience with petite knit patterns and or working with double Sunday, or if you just have any advice for me about what I should do. Just make it big and give it to them and say, oh, you have to keep this in storage for a couple years. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, we'll figure out what to do with that. The yarn is very soft. I would like to make it work. I know it's popular. I think maybe if I just change the needle size, maybe that will solve all my problems. Okay, so that's all I've been working on. And I do have some acquisitions if you're interested. Okay, so a couple weeks ago we went to an alpaca farm here in Massachusetts, and we got to meet all the alpacas, and we even got to pet them. And I fell in love with a dark caramel shade of alpaca. And this little farm had a gift shop inside, so I was hoping to get some yarn from one of these alpacas. But I learned they're actually part of, I believe it's called the New England Alpaca Co-op or something like that. So when they shear their alpacas, they send it off to some mill, and all the yarn gets processed there, and then they ship back different alpaca products. And so, at least at this time of year, I couldn't get any yarn from those alpacas, but I did go online and I found another local alpaca farm that did sell alpacas, alpaca yarn online. And so what I found was this yarn from Monsalvat farm, and this is a farm in Vermont, which is kind of close to Massachusetts. And this yarn is from the fleece of an alpaca named Hannah. So on the back you can see they write which alpaca of theirs the yarn came from. So thank you, Hannah, for donating this yarn. This is a light DK weight 3-ply yarn, and it is very, very soft. And I also got this beautiful cognac brown color. This is, they call this the dark brown color, and this is from Coco. So thank you, Coco. And with these two, I was planning to do a Colorwork cowl, like for the face, for winter time. I know it's April, almost May, but I can't be making these items when it's already cold out. They have to be ready before it gets cold. So a little face warmer I think would be perfect in case your face is sensitive to itch. There is 0 itch factor with these. So I'm really excited to get to use these, and I bet everyone in my family is going to be fighting over who gets to wear this. Hopefully you can make more than one. I don't know. I don't even have a pattern picked out. How many grams? 200 yards. Doesn't say grams. 200 yards. So I guess I've got 400 yards total. So we'll see what I can make with these. And then the last thing I got is some sheep yarn. So there's a farm pretty close to where I live called Drumlin Farm. They do nature camps for kids, and they have sheep, goats, some cows, pigs, a fox, owls, all sorts of animals. So when we got there at the ticket counter, there was a beautiful display of sheep yarn from their farm, from the exact sheep we had just seen. So I did support the farm, and I got these two. Are you noticing a theme? This is a lot like the alpaca duo I got. Light and dark, but can't go wrong with light and dark for color work. This is their, oops, I've already taken notes on the tag, but maybe you can see it says Drumlin Farm. This is a bulky weight yarn. I did a swatch on 5mm needles, so I think I'll go with something like that. 15 stitches for 10 centimeters, and it's 4 ounces and 160 yards. This is a beautiful, they call this color dark gray, but it definitely looks dark brown to me. This one they call gray, but it's more of a beige oatmeal. I can see gray in there, but there's definitely a warm beige tone in there as well. Very multifaceted. And their sheep are Romney sheep. They are processed with vegetable-based soaps, and they're spun at the Green Mountain Spinnery in Vermont. So I guess there's a lot of sheep and wool and yarn things happening in Vermont. And these sheep are raised without hormones or antibiotics. Very nice. So with this, I thought in the shop window they had knitted up a pair of fingerless gloves. So I thought I would make some mittens out of these. And we'll see how many I can get out of this. That's it for acquisitions. I thought I would take a little time to talk about my sewing. I've already sewn my first summer garment. As I mentioned, I have a trip coming up to San Francisco, and I wanted to knit a linen dress, something I could wear there. We're planning to go to Sonoma Valley for wine tasting, so I wanted like a beautiful spring or summer dress. And let me show you what I made. Okay, I think it's showing up, but it's beautiful pink and orange linen striped fabric. This is from, this linen is from Merchant & Mills. They do the most beautiful fabrics. They're very expensive, so I only choose like 1 or 2 projects to buy for them each year. This only took about 1.5 yards of fabric though, so that's not too bad. But the pattern I did was from Vicky Sews. This is the Marla dress. So It's got a ruched cup here, and then a little casing here where the straps go in. So you can, it's very adjustable in that way at the top, and it ties in a bow right here. And then I wanted to play with the stripy nature of the fabric, so I've got vertical section for the cups, horizontal at the waist, lower bodice part, and then long stripes, vertical stripes for the rest of the dress. I did modify this pattern. Oh, and there's a zippered back. I modified this pattern. In the original pattern, there was a leg slit in the front, like a front leg slit off to the side, and I don't like that because whenever I sit down, I feel like my whole thigh is exposed. So I just knit the whole front part of the skirt with no slits, and I added a slit in the back instead for like walking ease, because I like to walk with a long stride, so you need a slit in the back there so you can, you know, extend your legs to the max like this if you really got somewhere to go. So yeah, I just did a back vent opening down here at the bottom, right kind of below my knee. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. I knit the size 42. I'm in between the 40 and the 42. I've made a lot of their patterns before. They're always, they suit my body at least. You can choose the pattern. You can only buy one size though on their website. So how it works is you choose what size you want and which height you want. So that's nice. If you're shorter or taller, then you can kind of get the pattern that will fit you exactly, but you can only buy one size. So if you're in between sizes, you kind of have to know how to grade, or I'm not sure what their policy is. Maybe you can get a second size for a discount or something. Not exactly sure. But anyways, this worked out really well. I'm really happy with it, and I can't wait to wear it soon. If you stuck around to the end, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you'd like to see my next episode, please subscribe and leave a comment down below saying where you're from or what you're knitting on. I'd love to get to know more of you in the knitting community and make some yarn buddies. So until next time, I hope you're happy, healthy, and knitting on the projects that you love. Have a nice day. Bye.